Good morning. Today, as it's Easter nearing just around the corner, we are going to take you to a friend's kitchen and make some Paska bread. So we've done in other episodes, we did the crepes with Sarah and learned something from her background, and we did it here in my kitchen. But today, I am going to be heading out the door, and I am going to head over to a friend's kitchen, make it a little bit easier, and she is going to show us how to traditionally make her Paska bread that she learned from her Baba. So I'm going to head out the door here, head over to her place, and go make some bread. Okay, so we're just going to start the Easter Paska. I'm here with Christina in her kitchen, and she's going to lead us through how to make the Easter bread.
Okay. So I'm using this recipe here, and it's from this cookbook. That's a good cookbook. I'm using that recipe. And so what I've done here is I have the eggs, the salt, the white sugar, the butter that I've melted, and the oil in here, and I whipped it up. And then I have the yeast, which is in half a cup of warm water. It's 1.5 teaspoons of regular yeast, traditional yeast, with a teaspoon of sugar. So this sits for approximately 10 minutes, and you just want to let it bubble up just to make sure the yeast is alive, which I can already tell it is. So you can probably even just bypass that as long as it's bubbling up.
Yeah,
so we'll let
as soon as it bubbles, it's
growing.
growing.
I'm just going to use a little bit of warm milk instead of the water, which will be
Adds a little bit more fat into it and a little bit creamier.
I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because this recipe is so big, back in the day, women did it by hand.
we're going to cheat on this one, and we're just going to do it in a mixer.
Right. You certainly can. It's a lot to knead, though. Again, I'm not a professional baker.
It doesn't matter.
I do this. This is what I would do. Okay. So then I will mix the liquid ingredients all together.
So that's milk going in instead of the water in the recipe. So that's 3 cups of scalded milk.
Yep. And this is
the yeast that you've already got started warm with. Did you put sugar in there?
Yep.
Okay. So feeding the yeast a little bit by starting.
Yep. And then I'm just going to do half and half. So
it's all good.
Okay. So now do that, and it calls for, I think, 10 to 11 cups of flour. So I'll start with probably 4 cups in here and 4 cups in here, and then we'll see how it, because bread is always depends on the one. It's kneading dough. If you're only doing one recipe of dough, it's not that much to knead.
No.
But this is we aren't traditional farm women, so we're modern.
Or you could just do half a recipe.
Or half a recipe.
If you don't need the whole.
So I don't know. I can take this out and show people how to knead.
Okay.
With this, you're right, Kathy. It'll be manageable. So what I do is, because that'll be mixing up, and I'll come over here and do this.
We are just on a plexiglass surface on the table to make it easier to reach.
Yeah.
Alright.
So that just gets going. Okay. So what I have here is the dough that I mixed in the mixer, and then it's still soft, so as you can see it's a little bit sticky to my fingers. So you just put a little bit of flour down, and this is where we knead, and you're basically just, at this point, because it's so soft, just kind of trying to incorporate a little flour in. Now you don't always want to just jump in and put flour and flour and flour, because as you knead it, it will get a little bit softer. Now, if you make a lot of bread, this is a cheap, flexible, scraper, and it's the best for getting your dough out.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like
I don't even have
$3. It was, yeah. And then you can cut it. Yep. It's some of the cheapest things are the best things. So what I found with making dough is that sometimes I just jump and add more flour. But if you keep kneading it, sometimes the flour
it keeps absorbing it.
Yeah, and then so I used to always run to more flour, but sometimes if you just knead, but I think I still need a bit more flour.
So you want your dough quite soft.
Yeah. But you don't want it so soft that it's sticking like this. This would be too soft.
Right.
Because, right? So you have to get that, because you're going to have to mold it and shape it. And so you don't want it sticking. So yeah, you want it soft, but not so soft that it's sticking. So a little more.
So we're going to keep kneading this and adding a bit of flour, and we'll bring it back to...
See, it's still shaggy, so you still have to...
Keep adding, keep kneading.
Yeah, keep adding, keep kneading. So as I add, I'm going to knead for another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll reassess it, because, like I said, the flour will rehydrate, and then... Okay, so this is the one I've been kneading, and as you can see, it's like what they say is like a baby's bum, right? It's just nice and soft, it's shiny, it's supple. This is the one that I had a bit of trouble with in the bread maker, and because I divided the recipe in half to do it in 2 separate vesicles, this one I had to add more water, and it's good. The texture is good. It's very tight though. This is loose, it's right, and this is a little bit more firm. So I'm just going to leave this. We're going to mix these together anyways because this is one whole recipe, and with that I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, back in the day, I don't know how. Right?
It was a little more of a focus.
But there was no internet. There was no. I mean, the TV was very minimal, right? Like,
and this was a necessity. If you wanted a nice Easter dinner, you had to.
There was no option. There was no option.
You weren't running down the road to pick up your pre-made meal.
And my mom nowadays doesn't. Well, she said she'll make Paska this year, but she hasn't yet. But because we're all adults and we make it with our kids and stuff, she doesn't really make Paska much anymore because 9 loaves don't go for 2 people, right? And
pop up the freezer.
And we make, and since we make ours, okay. So that is that's pretty good.
So now what do we do?
So now we're gonna put it in. Okay, so this will double in size. So this is a good size of a container.
It's about double the size of your dough.
Yeah, so you some people, because it's always hard to judge if it's doubled or not. So that's why I put it in something like this, because then I know if when it's filled up here, it's pretty much doubled. If you're using a bigger container or a different shaped container, some people put an elastic band around as a marker. Yeah. Or tape or whatever you want. Anyways.
Or you accidentally put it in too small of a bowl and it
goes
overflows the bowl.
Okay, and so now we'll put this in.
So we have now punched the dough down, got all the air out of it, and just working it. So Christina, what are we doing?
Okay, so you can use any type of, you can use a loaf pan, you could use, it's typically round, so we use pie plates, but you can use whatever baking vessel you want. And so now we're just going to make the base, which is usually just, you take a certain amount of dough, you kind of have to eyeball it, and you just
depending on how big you want your Paska to be, right?
Right.
You could do minis, you can do...
Okay. Right. You can do tiny little Paskas, you can do very large ones. You can do, some people have, do like a baking tin.
Yeah,
taller. Yeah, like a round pie plate, deep, and then they make it rise, because remember it doubles, so it rises quite tall. And but
is there a traditional one that you were taught? Like this is the design. Okay, so we're gonna do what you would do.
Yeah. So and this is your base. Okay, so you just...
And we're just using it looks like an 8-inch pie plate for this and a 9-inch.
Yeah. And then what you do is, this is the decorations. Now,
Okay.
because you want to make, so what we'll do is we'll make a braid around here. So,
Okay.
and you always have to remember that it's going to double, right? So, and you just make snakes.
I'm stressing her out and causing her pressure watching. Remember, we're just at home having some fun and just showing you something traditional that people would make at home for Easter. So it's just for fun.
And this is what the kids like, right?
Yeah, having fun rolling it out and playing.
Okay, so I've made 3 long ropes. And, you know, I mean, as you, I'm not the best at this, but as you work with your dough a little bit more and through the years you get better and better, but this is just a point of it. So we're going to make a braid, and so I found it easier to go under as opposed to over, and you want to make it tight. And if you go on YouTube and you watch some of these professionals, they do it in like, there's lots of other decorations you can use. I'm just going to give you the basics, but some things are definitely works of art. So as you can see,
you can do so much with dough because
yeah, you're only limited to your imagination.
We did bunnies one year for Easter, and so I thought we might do that again. Just Bailey and I. She likes to always create something out of it. She'd never just do a traditional thing, so she made little tiny bunnies. I was like, oh, that'd be so fun with the kids, you know?
Oh yeah.
So there we have. Look, that went pretty quick.
Yeah.
A nice tight braid is what you're after.
Yes. Forget where I'm at here. I'll probably, because it's quite big. Now, this is what my mom does. Some people egg wash it and stuff like that, but through the years we just...
Or you could even just take a basting brush and rub it with butter or oil.
Yeah. And dough is stretchy too, so. Now, however, if you're a perfectionist, you will figure this out, but it just gets eaten. And then, sometimes, so because Easter for Paska is for Easter, which is their Ukrainians' religious holiday, you make it so you can just decorate it up with like a cross. That's very basic. Or you can do the
Easter doves.
Yeah. So now you always have to keep in mind that they do expand, so you just kind of make a knot like this.
And then you're kind of aiming to make it skinny, hey?
Yeah, like, but there again, the kids like making a bunny.
Right.
And you just kind of, there's the tail. And so you could just, there you go. The kids always laugh at everybody's. It's like a platypus, but.
Well, you have fun with the kids, because then they can kind of make their own shapes and decorate how they want.
So they're
Okay, so we have these all ready to go in the oven.
okay, and so again, I'm going to, look at that.
Beautiful.
That is really nice. And then I just put it.
She's only saying that because I made that one.
And then I just put it in, and it rises again for an hour, like 40 minutes.
Okay, so we'll be back at 2:30ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christina is saying these are all nicely risen. They're all puffed up.
Yeah. They're over puffed.
They might be a little bit over.
Yeah, like Tracy's is, yeah, it looks the best. But
I'm just kidding. We're the same dough.
huge air holes.
That's okay.
But
Just fixing a little bit. There we go.
A tiny bit of water, 1 egg, like maybe a teaspoon of water, and a bit of salt. The salt is apparently supposed to change the protein structure in an egg.
pour an egg wash over top of it.
Yeah, and then that'll make it shiny. My daughter used to use cream.
Okay. Which browns it up as well.
Yeah, but this makes it shiny. So this is all, basically this is what you do. You just kind of. Now with these, you have to watch when you're baking it. In the last 15 minutes or so, you might have to put tin foil over top of this because sometimes they get really.
They burn quicker as they're on the outside.
Yeah.
Sticking up, they take a little extra heat.
This is definitely not what Baba would have done. Meaning over-risen.
Over-risen.
Yeah.
They
Tracy and I were
got a
talking.
little bit high on their rise. So these are going to be nice and puffy. Okay, welcome back to the kitchen. Just arrived home with my Paska bread. So I spent some time in Christina's kitchen, doing it the way she remembers learning with her Baba, making Paska bread, Easter traditional bread from Ukraine. So supporting those in Ukraine right now, as well as just remembering that food has a way of connecting us, and traditions, and learning how to make some of these traditional foods from your family or from your heritage is a pretty awesome way to enjoy your holiday. So I hope you guys maybe take the time, try a new tradition, try making a new dish, share it with us, and let us know what you tried making over this Easter holiday that is special to your family, or may become a new tradition for your family. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy some Paska bread that I had the pleasure of making today. Have a great day.